You have no idea what I'm capable of.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever custom card review. This is a series I'm going to be starting where I'm going to be taking a look at the top 10 cards posted on r/custom Hearthstone. I'm going to be giving my kind of opinions and my reviews on each of the individual cards. This series, of course, is heavily inspired by Trump SC's Custom Cards of the Week series. I even reached out and asked for permission to see if I could do something very similar, and the mayor of Valuetown gave me the A-OK, so here we are reviewing these first 10 cards of the week. Starting off, we've got a pair of Death Knight cards here. First off, we got Beating Heart, which is a free mana 2 blood rune shadow spell for Death Knight that has draw a card for every 10 health your hero has. This card is actually my favorite card of the week, funnily enough. It's the barely scooted in, but I love this card so much. Definitely going to give it a 5 stars in both design and balance. I think this card is just perfect in every way. It's super flavorful for blood, super cool way to do a different kind of card draw. It's pretty much Arcane Intellect at a base, because even if your hero, I'm assuming, has taken any damage, like say you got 30 health and you take a couple damage by turn free, you're still going to only draw 2 cards with this. But if you manage to stay at 30 health up to turn free, then you're going to get to draw free cards with this, which is, you know, very good for free mana. We've seen that definitely work in the past. And on top of that, with other Blood Death Knight synergies, such as like gaining more health for your hero, you could potentially even draw more cards, though I think that is a lot more of a rare situation for this card. But it's very well designed. I love this card so much. I hope we see something like it in the game someday. The other card, though, that was made by the same person, it's a 2 mana shadow spell, triple blood, so big payoff here for triple blood, hopefully. And it's Phlebotomy. Discover a spell from your deck. It costs health instead of mana. This card is a bit of a different opinions here for this card. I think it is very swingy. I'm going to give this card a 5-star in design. Very well designed. I like the flavor a lot. Fits the blood theme. But I think it's only going to be a 2-star balance. Even as a triple rune card, I think that this kind of effect is a little too dangerous for the game. Making any spell in your deck potentially cost health instead of mana could let you cheat out insane things. You could make a deck that just has the one insane spell you want to run, and this, and then you cheat it out on turn 2 and just completely run away with the game potentially. I don't think it's unfixable. I think you just bump the cost up of Phlebotomy a bit, maybe to like 4 or 5 mana. It kind of more in line with cards like the Prismatic thing from Paladin that we saw a little while ago, and other spells like it. Kind of fits that theme a little more. I also think you could probably take off a rune if you do that. I don't think triple rune is necessary if you're making this card a lot weaker. But overall, I like the idea of the card, just a little, I think, too overtuned. But these pair of Death Knight cards are a very great way to start off the week. I really like these two. Congratulations to the designer of these. Moving on, though, we've got Jade Guardian, a 4-mana 2/4 Shaman Druid card. It has Rush and Battle Cry, summon a Jade Golem, give it Rush. Overall, I think definitely 5-star in design, and probably, I think it's fine, right? I think 5-star balance too. Cool payoff for Jade. It kind of fits the theme that the old Jade cards had, especially that Shaman card that was the Taunt. And I forget, did it give the Jade its summon Taunt as well? I think it did. So very cool callback to that kind of design. Really like that. Other than that, though, just a very well designed card here. I don't really have any notes. I will say I actually didn't play during the Jade period, so I started playing around 5 years ago, and believe it or not, that was over 5 years ago, so now all of you Jade enjoyers can feel a little old. But yeah, so I don't actually know how balanced this is, but it looks fine to me in a modern Hearthstone kind of takeaway from it. But yeah, overall, I think this one's good. Moving on, we've got Crystal Turner, a 1-mana 2/1 Druid card with Battle Cry. Turn an empty mana crystal into a 2/2 mana treant. And the 2/2 mana treant is a 2/2 with Death Rattle. You gain back that mana crystal that you lost. We had a card that was like this that transformed all your mana crystals into these mana treants. This card just transforms one of them, which is actually a very neat idea. I think overall 5-star 5-star design, 5-star balance too. I think this is fine, right? Well, actually, I'm gonna take that back. Well, no, I think 5 stars. 5 stars feels right there. It's a big, requirement early on. You lose a bit of that early game potential push in a token treant deck. If you play this on 1, then the next turn you're gonna have 1 mana again. So that's kind of the payoff here. I'm gonna say 4-star balance. I'm actually not entirely sure on it. It might be a little overtuned. This maybe could be a 1/1 perhaps instead of a 2/1. Just because it's a lot of stats on turn 1, and sometimes Druid's not going to care about that too much, but the downside. But I think it's probably alright. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It definitely has a pretty big drawback on it. Later in the game, of course, though, the drawback is pretty much non-existent. You just play this, and like if you have 10 mana already, next turn you have 10 mana again. So, but I think it's fine. You're waiting till the end of the game then to play it. So yeah, really cool card. Love this design as well. Next up, we've got Moonfang Spirit, a 4-mana Death Knight hero card, triple frost rune as well. It also has free armor that you gain when you play it, which is important for this card. It has Battle Cry. Your hero can only take 1 damage at a time while having armor. Now, that's an effect. I should mention as well, the hero power is Blessing of the Moon, which is your hero can't be healed, and whenever a character is frozen, gain 2 armor. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3-star in design, and I'm pretty sure it's a 1-star balance. This kind of card is kind of ridiculous. It's putting that effect on your hero almost permanently is insane, right? Because it's gonna take with the free armor that you gain with the card itself, you're gonna have to get hit 3 times for the effect to go away, where you can start taking damage again. And then if you just play any cards that gain you armor, they would never be able to print a good Frost Rune card that gains you armor. And also the hero power just gains you a ton of armor, so in itself, it is a good Frost Rune card that gains you armor. This card is absolutely bonkers. I don't think there's any salvaging the effect at all. The effect is just too crazy. So yeah. 1-star balance. The design is kind of neat. It references back to Moonfang, that card from the Dark Moon Fair mini set, and it's very interesting. I will say it doesn't feel too Death Knight-y. Like Death Knight actually doesn't really mess around with armor too much, which is kind of weird because I feel like Death Knight as a class could definitely do some things with armor, but I'm trying to think. They don't really have much armor synergy right now, so it is a bit of a weird inclusion to do an armor thing on this card, but I can see it. Like, I can see them doing an armor synergy card in Death Knight, so that's why I'm still giving it a free star in design, even though the balance is so far off. I think that this kind of idea of an armor Death Knight is super fun, and I'd love to see it explored a little bit. Next up, we've got Volatile Skeley. It's a 4-mana double unholy. It's a Death Knight and a Mage card, and it's a Shadow spell as well. And it has your hero power becomes summon a 2/2 Volatile Skeleton with Reborn. Okay, I think design. I'm gonna give the design 4 stars, and there is a reason I'm taking off a star here. And the balance, I think the balance is probably also, I think probably 5 stars, honestly. Really cool card for Death Knight. It's just kind of upgrade your hero power, and for Mage, it's really synergistic with all the Volatile Skeleton stuff that they printed in Nathria. So it fits really nicely in the 2 classes. The only point that I would take off the design is the double unholy rune requirement. It does not work. In Mage, you would obviously not be able to make an unholy Mage, so I'm assuming that the requirement just wouldn't do anything here, but it's just a little awkward. All of the dual class Death Knight cards don't have rune requirements, I think for that very reason. I actually guarantee you it's for that very reason. So I think just cut those 2 unholy runes. I don't think it really needs it anyways. I guess, balance 4 stars just because I don't think that the card actually is that overpowered. It's 4 mana, upgrade your hero power, and it's just kind of a fun card. I really like it. Very interesting for both the classes to utilize, and I would love to have this in Mage. I love playing Skeleton Mage. It's like my favorite deck archetype that's come out in a while, so I might be a little biased here, but this is a really cool card. Next, we have Test of Faith, a 2-mana holy spell for Priest, which is deal 5 damage. If the target survives, restore 12 health to it. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars as well. A while ago I would have maybe said that Priest probably shouldn't get targeted damage just because they started removing all that stuff, but I think it's okay. I personally think that Priest should be able to have some targeted damage. It fits the control side of the class, and even if it can hit face, you're never using this to hit face, let's be real, because unless you're killing them, which then this is a cool card as like a nice finishing card for a control priest. This effect is too big of a downside to ever use on the enemy hero. Using it on your own hero might be too good, but you are a priest, 2 mana is worth restoring 10, like if you put 2 flash heals next to each other. So I think it's okay to heal 12 for 2. So yeah, it seems like a perfectly fine card. Very cool design as well. Test of faith, you're testing to see if they are worthy of your healing before doing a bunch of healing onto them. So it's a very cool design, and I think the balance on it is very good as well. Next up, we have a really funny card here. Paradox Spirit, a 2-mana free 1 neutral legendary elemental with Rush, Twin Minion, and Minion Burst. Discover a spell. Obviously, these are referencing Twin Spell and Spell Burst. It's, I would imagine, Twin Minion is you get another copy of this in your hand the first time you play it, and Minion Burst is after you play a minion. This effect will happen once. Overall design, I'm gonna give it like a 2-star. It's very memey. I don't think they'd ever do something like this because that would be really confusing in game. Balance, I think probably like a 3-star. The balance on this card's a little weird. Twin Minion, it's a 2-mana free 1 with Rush, which is already pretty like, premium-ish. And then you also get another one in your hand, and also you discover a spell when you play a minion the first time, which I guess is alright. I would maybe push this to free mana and maybe like make it a free instead, just because it's doing a lot for a 2-mana card. But overall, it's probably alright. It's either that or I'd make it like a 2, just so it's a little tone. but it's a meme card. I think they were, you know, making just a fun meme here, so I'm not gonna judge it too harshly. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. Our second to last card here, we've got Ulf Recurring Nightmare. It's a free mana free with a mage legendary. With Death Rattle, cast a random mage secret and change its reward to summoning Ulf. So this would work as if like it casts a random mage secret, and then whatever the benefit of that secret was, it would replace it with resummon Ulf, right? The example they gave is counterspell becomes free mana when your opponent casts a spell, summon Ulf, which I can't keep saying this card's name, it's ridiculous. Design 3 stars, design 2 stars, balance probably 4 stars. I actually think it's maybe a little underpowered. It's just a free mana free that keeps coming back, which is like, you know, sure, it takes up a secret spot pretty much. I think it's probably all right. The design, though, my problem with this is how complicated it is. It's, you know, when you're making a card, you kind of got to consider, especially one like this that messes with every mage secret in the game, you got to consider the permanence of its design on all of the cards that it's affecting. Kind of like the Death Knight hero for Hunter, where they had to keep adding the new beast to the pool. Same with the improved secrets for Hunter, where they kind of just decided that just for that standard run, all the secrets that would be in that standard got improved versions of them. This is something they'd have to go back and make sure every single secret that they ever made in the past and future is compatible with this, which is a bit much to ask. But overall, I think that's my only real problem with the design of the card. I think it's fine though, probably balance-wise, and it's a pretty neat effect as well. Definitely very custom card energy coming from this card, but I like it quite a bit, so I think they did a pretty good job here. And finally, by far the most upvoted card this week. I remember seeing this too and being like, that's really funny. It's a Death Knight. Free mana 2/5 undead for Death Knight, and it has battle cries can't trigger. Design 5 stars, definitely. Balance 5 stars as well. I think that this card is super neat. The only thing that I would say is that it kind of feels like a neutral card, but for the sake of the pun, I shall overlook that. And this card is pretty much perfect in every other way. It's very much in line with other tech cards like it. Death Warden was the example that they gave themselves, the creator of this card. And I think it definitely would have some utility as well. There's a lot of powerful battle cries in this game that you would love to, you know, make sure don't happen. It's also a little harder to kill without battle cries happening. Obviously, you know, rush minions and spells still exist, so I wouldn't say it's impossible to deal with. But it could delay that big battle cry minion that your opponent's wanting to play a turn or two, which could be pretty impactful. Probably don't run it in many decks, it's more of a tech option, but I think it's very neatly designed and very well balanced as well. So very good job, definitely deserving of the top spot in this custom cards of the week. But with that, we've kind of concluded our review of the top 10 cards of the week. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I'd be happy to keep doing this if you all are enjoying it. Also, I'd like to encourage you all to go over to the Custom Hearthstone subreddit, it's r/Custom Hearthstone, and post your own cards. I'd love to see them. I'd love to review them. Go and also comment on other people's cards, give them feedback if you've got something valuable to say, or just upvote cards that you like and would like to see in the next video as well. So with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again very soon.